Welcome. If anybody's there yet. Boy, the latency on this is very slow. But I think we are going. Looks like there's nobody there. Not yet. If you're just joining, say hi. I just got started. If you can hear me, let me know. I had to redo the entire setup, so I'm not sure if everything is done correctly. Hey, Boston. Nice of you to join. Thanks for coming in. Try to get situated. I'm in my garage again, as you can tell by the background. So I had to redo all the setup for live streaming. Usually I had it done at my computer in my office, and now out here I tried hooking up my Canon camera, but then on a laptop, going from a PC in the office to a Mac out here just got to be too much. So I'm just going right off the Mac camera. Good evening from the Netherlands. Thank you for joining, Jacob. That's one place I've been once, but would absolutely love to get back there. I really enjoyed it while we were up there. It wasn't very long. We didn't stay very long. It was when I was in Germany the first time, and we bought a car and had it shipped from the US, so we had to go to Bremerhaven, Germany, to the port to pick it up. And when we did, we decided to make a long weekend out of it. So we drove west into the Netherlands, spent the night in Amsterdam, got there at night, so we didn't really see a whole lot. Somehow we found a tiny little hotel somewhere, and then the next day we took a walk because they were having some open air, like a sidewalk fair, I guess, with a bunch of, all the shops brought other stuff outside onto the sidewalk. So we took a walk down there and back and bought a few little postcards and whatnot, but I want to spend more time there because then we had to leave and end up going back into Germany. But from what I saw, it was very beautiful. I'd like to go somewhere. I'd like to see Amsterdam again, obviously, just because I didn't get to see a whole lot of it. But I'd like to go out into the countryside and maybe go to the coast somewhere up there as well. So thank you for joining. Maybe people will be coming in later. I don't know. 3 people, 2 people. I do have my cooler. I got my cooler. Got a few new drinks in here I haven't tried before. I don't think I'm going to get through all of them in a live thing because at the end I might be incomprehensible. Erica! You made it. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. We don't have a whole lot of people here yet, but hopefully people start coming in. I could start talking about things, but I don't want too many people to miss. But I guess if they aren't here yet, it's their loss, right? So if anybody has any questions throughout the entirety of this, please feel free. I got the chat open here, so I'll be able to respond to anything. I know my last live video was quite a while ago, and I just did it on my phone, so hopefully this is a little bit better setup, better lighting, better audio, that sort of thing. but it'll be fun. I got my drinks ready. I got my mug ready. I can't read what it says. Oh, this is from my buddy's wedding, actually. It says, my name and best man, thanks. So, I'll be using this one. This is a little bit shorter than a normal German beer glass because once again, I'm not going to be able to drink all of the beer I have, but whatever. Thanks, Erica. I'm actually in my garage, believe it or not. I redid this entire wall behind me, repainted, put up these side panels here, put some of my artwork on the wall, put some lights. Right now it's not too bad. This is a perfect time of year to be out here because it's not 110 degrees in the garage. I don't know how this is going to work when it becomes the middle of summer, but we will see. I'd like to get it insulated, but that's pricey. So we'll see. Maybe I'll have to just hook up a bunch of fans and operate out of here. Or I just go back inside for the summer and do all my video work in there. But I went to all the work and all the trouble of doing this. I want to be able to use it. Yeah, the heat's just going to be disastrous. Jacob, my scuba certification is just a hobby for right now. Unfortunately, we don't need to go deliver packages under Lake Pleasant. That would be fun though. That would be a trip. But right now it's just a hobby. But who knows? You know, it's one of those things where, you know, I did it just because I've always had an interest in it and always wanted to see under the water, even though water terrifies me. But it's also, you know, every time I watch like Shark Week and, you know, I think it would just be an extreme rush to go down and see marine life in their natural habitat. It's one of the, if not the least explored areas on the planet, and now I get to be a part of it. So who knows, maybe this will lead into a career at some point, but for right now it's just another expensive hobby of mine. And I blame my wife because she's the one who got me the gift certificate to get my certification. And I told her actually one day, I said, this is going to be all your fault, you know, because now I have to buy all the stuff and go on all these cool trips. So it's all my wife's fault. I blame it on her. Thanks, Infinity. I appreciate that. I do enjoy the studio out here. It's away from the house. It's away from people. Although my son is taking a shower right now and the hot water heater is right behind this divider over here. And I can hear it. Hopefully you can't hear it too much on the mic. I have the mic right up here above me. But hopefully it gets shut off here pretty soon. Dark waters are terrifying. Yes. Even when I was in Lake Pleasant, we didn't go very far. We just went off the coast, you know, off the beach area. And the max I went was about 35 feet down. And there was a good 40, 50 feet of visibility, which isn't bad for the lake. But beyond that, it's just this murky nothingness that, you know, you really got to keep your imagination in check because, you know, if you sit too long and think about what's going to come out of this murky water at me, then, you know, your heart rate goes up, you start breathing more, you use more of your oxygen, and then you can't dive as long. But once I'm under there, all of those thoughts really just disappear. It's just, you're focused more in kind of a smaller bubble around you, not so much way out there in the distance where you can't see. So that's kind of nice, where your focus is more, you know, 3 feet or whatever, looking at the little fish that are just staring at you, wondering why you're bothering them. But yeah, the deep, dark, you know, the ocean might be a different story for me, but I still want to do it. Yeah, Boston, hobbies are always expensive. Guten Abend, Winter. The hobbies I pick especially I'm sure you could have cheaper hobbies, but photography, video, woodworking, now scuba diving. So those require specialized equipment, which in turn isn't very cheap. I mean, you can buy cheap stuff, but if you're gonna get what you pay for, and your scuba gear is literally life support because you're underwater. So you don't want to skimp out on any of the equipment. Granted, I don't need a $2,000 dive computer. I'm actually wearing my dive computer today because it acts just like a normal watch. I can keep track of my steps and whatever, but I don't need a $2,000 one. But you don't want a $50 one off of Amazon either. You want something that works, you want something that's reliable. So the next item on my list is going to be the regulator. And that's probably one of the most expensive pieces of gear that you can get, because the one I'm looking at is close to $800. And if you don't know what the regulator is, that's the piece that goes in your mouth with the hoses, the air tubes. It comes with a secondary regulator for those emergency situations, and then the attachment that goes to the oxygen tank itself, the air tank itself, and then another gauge to read how much air you have left. So that you really don't want to skimp on. You want quality gear. So one piece at a time. I can rent everything else. I have my fins, I have my mask, I have booties, I bought gloves, a snorkel, dive computer. I do have a rash guard now to go under the wetsuit if I need to, or in warm water I can just wear the rash guard so the BC, the buoyancy compensator vest, isn't rubbing directly on my skin. So one piece at a time, and I'll get there. Always nice you can blame someone else. Yeah, I've wanted to do it for a long time, and I keep telling her, and it just wasn't ever the right time. So this year, she got the family involved too, so it wasn't just her. They all chipped in and got me the certification, because it was, to be perfectly honest with you, the just basic open water certification was about $350, $380. It was less than $400. But that's just step one. After that, you go through advanced open water certification. So that's another certification. That'll allow me to go deeper in the water. Because right now my limit's 60 feet with just the open water certification. The advanced open water certification will allow you to go down to 100 feet. So each stage teaches you a little bit more, because it's a little bit more dangerous, the deeper you get. Then there's nitrox certifications for those really deep dives, wreck diving certification, all of technical diving, all of that. There's so many different avenues that you can go down that, it's pretty cool. But right now, 60 feet is going to be plenty for me wherever I go. It's just usually going to be within that depth that I'm going to be diving. Reading Lovecraft before. Yeah, probably not doing that, not watching Jaws, not watching Shark Week. It's kind of like when you get ready to fly, you don't want to watch anything that has any airline disasters right before you get on a plane. So kind of the same way. Thanks, Nuno. I appreciate it. It is pretty great. The bummer thing is that, we have a couple lakes here, but that's it. I don't live anywhere near large, nice body of water. They've nicknamed the lake out here. Its real name is Lake Pleasant, but all the divers have nicknamed it Lake Unpleasant because it's not pleasant. In the summertime, it's really murky because all the algae blooms. The water's a lot warmer, it's a lot nicer, but you can't see anything. In the winter, it's colder than crap, but you have visibility. So take your pick. I am going to try and dive when it does get warmer, just to see what the difference is. But I'm really looking forward to going somewhere tropical or somewhere exotic, or even, go to Mexico, go to Cozumel. That's one of the top dive places in the world, just to witness real scuba diving, what it's really like. That is true, thorium. Piano can be quite cheap, although pianos themselves could be quite expensive. But you're right. Once you have it, it's yours. You don't have to worry about it. You're not continuously putting money into it, except for just the normal tuning that it needs every once in a while. I grew up with a piano, not playing it, but my mom played piano my whole life. So we had a piano in the house all through childhood. And then I grew up playing the saxophone. So I do have my saxophone still from high school, a very long time ago. I haven't played it in years, but I still have it just in case I want to pick it up. I'm going to have to learn how to play it all over again, though. It's one of those skills that if you don't stay with it, you can lose it. I don't know that I could read music anymore. I could figure it out, but it would take me a little bit. But yeah, there are some hobbies that are a little cheaper. I just tend to pick the most expensive ones, I guess. So that's really a lot on the scuba certification. And obviously you can see I'm in the new studio. I did do a video on the studio before, a little walkthrough of everything, but it's serving its purpose. It's a nice backdrop. As a matter of fact, I had a job interview, and the second interview was a Zoom call interview with two ladies from the company, and I did it right here. So I had a nice backdrop, more professional than a messy closet in the background. So it has a lot of different purposes. Backdrop for photography, for videos. I have a green screen now. It's just on a pole, draped down. I have it on the other side over here, but I can just take it and actually set it on top of these panels over here and have the green screen or a white screen if I just need a plain background for any photography work or anything like that. So I can take that down when I don't need it and put it back up when I do. Oh, nice. Celtic Kelly. So if I tell them that I got my certification in 50-degree water, I'll be a rock star. That sounds good to me. I can't wait for that 84-degree water, 85-degree water. Because 50, I think both days. The first day was 50, 55-degree water. Second day, my dive computer told me it was 53 degrees. So it was cold. I did have a wetsuit on. Unfortunately, my first dive, I had a size large, which was a bit too big, so it didn't function properly, because the purpose of a wetsuit is to hold a thin film of water inside, and your body heat warms that up, so it kind of is a buffer between you and the cold water, and it slowly filters fresh water in. And the large was a bit too big, so when I'd squeeze my wrist or my fist like this, I could just pump cold water straight up my arm. It was freezing, so it didn't seal properly. There was too much space for water to get in and out, so it was just cold water the whole time. And then the second dive, I put on a medium wetsuit, and it was a lot tougher to get into, believe me, but that's the way they're designed. That's what they're supposed to do. So I actually got in the water and got all the way up almost to my neck before I could feel any water, come in. And then it's not a mistake. Some people do, some people don't, but it's called burping your wetsuit, and you just grab the neck and you get underwater and you just do this. This is also how you can filter if you happen to need to relieve yourself while you're in the water and you don't want that just stuck in your wetsuit for a while. You can do this. Well, that just pumps that water in, and then my body could warm it up, and then I could go diving. So it was a lot better, but it was still 53 degrees, and that's too cold to have any fun. Most divers out there during the wintertime will wear dry suits. So they stay a lot warmer than somebody in a wetsuit. But now I'm going to remember that. So the next time whenever I get down somewhere where it's really nice and warm, I'll tell them, hey, I don't need to wear anything. I can just jump into this water because I did my certification and all my dives in 50-degree water. That's kind of funny. I never thought about that some people just have never been around cold water. What brand of camera is that behind you next to the Star Wars mask? That is an old Kodak pocket camera. Let me see. It's got the bellows. I'm gonna have to switch screens because this lag that I'm seeing on the YouTube studio is really driving me crazy. So this is what it is. It's a Kodak pocket camera. It says a number 18 pocket Kodak, Eastman Kodak Company. I don't see a date on there. It's kind of funny that they call this a pocket camera because that's a very large pocket. It is kind of falling apart, the outside here. But it took like the rolled film. I have put film in it. Doesn't come out too terribly great because I think there are some light leaks in the bellows. But yeah, I don't see any dates on here, but I got this. I worked at a camera store, and there were, every once in a while, people would just bring in old cameras trying to get rid of them. So I think I picked this one up there, or at like a secondhand, like a antique vintage type store where you could buy old comic books, old cameras, old record players, things like that. I may have gotten it from there as well. I don't remember, but it's a nice backdrop. Although when I go to that page, I can't see all your comments. So, would love to see me play the sax. Oh boy, that might have to wait a bit on that one. Let me get at least a little bit better first before I make a total fool out of myself. I mean, more like riding a bike, maybe. It'll probably take a little more work to pick the sax back up. Just for one, the way you use your lip, and you bite your lower lip. So for a while, I built up a callus. I played it since 5th grade all the way through college, so quite a few years. So it didn't hurt, and I tried it a while ago again, and for about 2 minutes, and then I couldn't do it anymore because my lip hurt so bad. But I do want to get it sent in and have it looked at, do a once over, any minor repairs, because I probably need all new pads for it because it leaks most likely, just sitting there in the case for years and years. But not to brag too much, I was pretty good back in high school. I played it every day. I loved to play it, so that was one thing my parents never had to tell me to go practice your saxophone. I would just sit in my room and play it and just irritate the crap out of our dog because he would come in and sit right next to me and howl the whole time, every note. He would just be singing right there along with me. So maybe I'll pick it back up again here soon and try it all. The camera, it probably still works, Jacob. I just don't have the proper film. I don't know that you can get that type of film anymore. I probably could modify it for just some regular 120 or 220 film and find some used film and try and push it through. But it's a really weird format. I don't know off the top of my head. I can't remember, but it's like really wide frames. but something I could definitely look into. I love playing with old cameras like that. Hi, Kirsty. What are your thoughts about the trank drug? I don't know. I don't know what that is. More context, maybe? I'm not sure. So, I think it is time for me to open that first drink. I went to Total Wine after work yesterday. And if you don't know, Total Wine is a massive store that is nothing but alcohol. So from wine to spirits to, hard liquor, bourbon, tequila, expensive stuff. There's stuff in there that it's like $3,000 or $4,000 a bottle. Beer, local stuff, you name it, it's in this store. It's like an entire grocery store dedicated to alcohol. It's great. It's wonderful. So they have a beer section, and I am not an IPA person. I can't stand. All right. Thanks for stopping by. Say hi to the cats. I can't stand hops. I'm not a hoppy beer person, so IPAs are just out of the question for me. So unfortunately, that's like the majority of the beer in a lot of these places. It's all this craft brew, lime green colored, kiwi flavored. I don't know. It's just nasty to me. Unfortunately for me, the section I like is like this big compared to entire aisles of IPA. So I did find a few, though, that I wanted to try. One of which I probably won't on camera, just because I did take a little taste while I was there, and this stuff is strong. But it is from Kansas City. I need more light in here. I think Kansas City. Bourbon Barrel Quad is the name of it. And it is made, from what the guy said, they do another bourbon barrel that they sell in 6-packs. But then the leftover of that, they will age in bourbon barrels and then sell them in 4-packs. So that's why it's called Bourbon Barrel Quad. And it is a very distinct bourbon flavor. Old, kind of smoky, sweet, but strong. It's very good, but it's over 12% alcohol. So there's no way I'm drinking one of these while I'm live on YouTube, unfortunately. Maybe a little later. So I have a Mena Brie. It says it's Italian. Maybe Ambrata. Maybe somebody knows what this is, and how do I pronounce that? But I have that one. I also have a Hopabräu Weissbier. And then it was kind of funny because I got it home and I started reading the label to my wife, and I was like, oh, handcrafted beer since 2010. So it's not very old, but very plain label, very nondescript, non-distinct label, but it is a Weissbier, and I love the German Weissens. So I have that one as well. Plus, I had to get me a Radler. This is the Raspberry Himbeere Radler. And if you don't know what Radlers are, it's the traditional is usually lemonade drink. It's like a sparkling, refreshing, very refreshing drink in the summertime. I believe, if you are out there watching and you are German, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Radler started with sports. Like, instead of drinking water, they would drink Radlers to quench their thirst, to rehydrate, and that's how it was created, roughly. That's a very loose history lesson, but I believe that's kind of where it started. So which one do I attempt first? I'm probably not going to drink the entire thing out of any of these, but I don't know anything about that, Ayush. Drug which is rotting human flesh and turning people into zombie kind of. I've never even heard of that. I don't know. Do I get much backlash for some of your reaction videos from your US viewers? You know, that is an excellent question. I don't. I don't a whole lot. I think because the majority of my viewers are overseas. I do get those one-off, comments that are completely asinine comments. Your typical U.S. American response to anybody criticizing their country. If you don't like it, leave. Or trying to change the subject into, well, like healthcare, for instance. Well, trying to convince me that U.S. healthcare is still the best system in the world. Or, just dumb things like that. But I expected a lot more backlash, to be honest, but I haven't gotten a whole lot. And those comments I just ignore. A lot of them get filtered out of my comment section anyway, just by the way YouTube works. And if they see any bad words in there, they'll hold it for review. And if I want to, I can let it go through, or I can just ignore it. And most of them I just ignore. Unfortunately, I have had to kick people off the channel or hide the channel from them, or report them for abuse or spam, because they spam everybody's comment with the same exact comment. And I won't tolerate that. I'm just going to get rid of them. So I don't get as much as I would have thought. Boston, that's not beer in my book. Which one were you talking about? The Radler? Probably the Radler. Or the IPAs. Imperial Lager. Don't know that I've had one of those. Yeah, Raspberry Radler. I might go for that one just because I'm thirsty. But I don't. You know what? No. I'm going to go with the one that seems to be from Italy. The Menabrea. Menabrea? Beats me. We'll try that one first. Try some beer from Portugal called Sangres. I'll have to remember that one. I don't know that I've ever seen that. Although we do have a few sections that are, from around the world. Speaking of woodworking, when I did woodworking, this is one of the bottle openers that I made. Pretty nice. Smells good. I'll just put a little bit in here first. It's got nice flavor. Unfortunately, it looks like my glass is a little dirty on the inside. I got a lot of bubbles going on. You see often beers from little brewers lately in the Dutch supermarkets. Sometimes they're really good. Yeah, sometimes you do get some really good microbrews or those local places. We have one called Four Peaks here that is, this smells really good. Thomas Prost. Yeah, IPA is not. Yeah. No, this is. It reminds me of something and I can't place it. It's not too heavy, which is nice. and it's not a very light beer, which is nice. So I'm not a big Pilsner fan either. I can't stand American beer. I mean, most of it. Any Budweiser product is just straight garbage. It gives me a headache like halfway through the first one. It just is just trash. So this isn't like that, but it's not too heavy either, so it doesn't sit in your belly. That's the other thing that I have a problem with is depending on what I'm doing, obviously. But if it's just too thick, of course, I can't drink it during the summer because then it just makes you bloated. Thorium, I do like cocktails. Not so much a pina colada. I'm not a coconut person. I don't know what a swimming pool is. Tell me what's in a swimming pool. And have you ever tried alt beer? I have. I have tried alt beer, usually in Germany when we are there. Not my favorite, but bearable. I mean, it's better than Budweiser trash headache beer. My favorite all time is not distributed. It was brewed in a monastery when I was stationed in Büdingen. That's the English way to say it because it's hard for me to say it in German. But I lived in a little town called Altenstadt, so up in Hessen, near Hanau, up north of Frankfurt. But there was a monastery on top of a mountain. It's called Kreuzberg, and I know there's probably 1,000,001 different Kreuzbergs in Germany, but this is the one I know. And they were only open in the summer because the road leading up there was steep, so in the wintertime they just closed it down. They brewed it right there, and that's where you could buy it. They didn't distribute, they didn't send it anywhere else, so a buddy of mine and I would go up there in his Jeep, and we would reuse the growlers, the jugs that you could buy from them. And they had 1 liter, 2 liter, or just 2 liter. No, they had a 2 liter, 3 liter, and 5 liter. So, I mean, they had some big jugs. So we would go take those and get them refilled. The best beer ever. It was so smooth. It was a darker beer, but very smooth. And it never gave me a hangover. Like the next day, I could drink 2 liters of this stuff and be, I mean, not feeling the greatest the next morning, just dehydrated and tired, but it wasn't like drinking 2 liters of Budweiser because then I would be sick for the next week. But that probably my favorite beer of all time, and I can only get it while I'm up there. Our favorite beer here in Arizona is Kilt Lifter. It is brewed by Four Peaks, so it's a local brew. It is on the stronger side of things, which is why it's called Kilt Lifter. You have too many of those, you'll be running around lifting your kilt. But very good beer. That's my wife's favorite beer, actually. Even, I think, over most German beers is Kilt Lifter, which is surprising. But it's very good. Pineapple vodka, cream of coconut, and white. Nope. So I couldn't take the pineapple and cream of coconut out. Give me the vodka and white rum and I'll be okay. Yeah, if you can find it, I can't remember how to get. I mean, this has been years and years ago, but I wonder if I even have a growler of. I might have one of the containers. Maybe at some point I'll grab that and see what it says. But it was so delicious. Yeah, craft beer culture seems to be pretty popular with young people everywhere. Even here in Arizona or back in my home state of Wyoming, craft beer seems to be the younger crowd. There's a local brewery here called 8-Bit Brewery, and they've 8-bit meaning 8-bit gaming. So the old school like Mario, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, the old 90s gaming systems. They actually have Nintendos on the tables where you could play Super Mario while you're trying their craft beer, but it's all IPA and it's just the weirdest flavors ever. My wife and I went in there and got a little flight, and I'm sorry, but if my beer is that color, I'm not drinking it. That is not natural. That is not, you don't need to be drinking that stuff. It's like slime from a comic book. Or Fruit Loop flavored or cherry. Just come on. Just give me a good old fashioned Weiss beer or micro. Oh, just disgusting. But the place is really cool. And it's right next door to the mead place, the meadery that we go to, Scale and Feather Meadery. And I would prefer mead probably over beer at any given time. However, mead tends to give you a little bit more hangover because it is a more wine. So, I mean, it's a honey wine. But those flavors I can handle. I can handle different flavors like ghost pepper mead because it's done different. You know, it's a completely different process. So it's not a beer, but very good. Yeah, Jacob, they might have a few places over there for monastery, the local stuff that you can only buy in a certain area. I'd love to try some from Belgium. That would be good. Yeah, mead does stick in the belly for sure. Dankeschön, Roberta. From München. But yeah, mead, depending on the mead, I can't do this overly sweet stuff because then it's just it's like you're just drinking honey and you're more thirsty. But the semi-sweet to semi-dry, I don't do the dry stuff either because I don't like drinking sand. So in the middle is pretty good. If it's got a good flavor, and it's just on the dry side, that's okay. But there was some stuff. It's called Banshee Breath. The really cool thing about Scale and Feather Meadery, it's their motif is like Dungeons and Dragons or that old medieval theme. So a lot of their drinks are named after Dungeons and Dragons monsters or terms that you would find in the game, which is really cool. So this one was called Banshee Breath. The issue was they only sold it in cans. So once you opened it, you had to drink it. I mean, there wasn't any stopping the bottle like a lot of their other meads and putting it back in the fridge. Once it's open, and you better drink it. But the best flavor, like it would just hit your tongue and you're like, yes. And right about that time, it just kicked you right in the face with that ghost pepper. You're like, oh. And that was actually my wife's favorite. She does not do spicy stuff, but Banshee Breath was her favorite mead. Very good stuff, but it really had a punch. Cherry wine. I mean, I do wine. But not often. We don't do wine a whole lot. Every once in a while, we'll get some Stella Rosa. It's your plain, it's very good wine. It's more of a dessert wine, more of a little bubbly, but really good. But we don't do a whole lot of just wine. Yeah, Boston, that stuff was delicious. And then they had another one that was like 3 different types of peppers, like cayenne pepper, ghost pepper, red pepper, or chili pepper. I don't know, but it was good. I actually just got another bottle the other day that's got some cayenne in it, and it's really good, but then it's like karate chops you right in the throat. Just right when you least expect it, pow. Which is is good. I mean, obviously it's not, you're not going to sit there with an entire bottle and just drink it. We usually do little helpings. For one, it's not cheap. I mean, I bet the bottles are maybe this big, but they're the type that you can stop the bottle. You know, it's got the little rubber seal. And it's like $25. I mean, for one. So it's not cheap, but it's delicious. So we try and, you know, have a little bit, and then, you know, there's those times where I'll go get a bottle, and then on a weekend, just that's what I'm drinking. So, well, this is a good beer. Anybody yet? No? I have no idea. I might have to look that up. This is a very good, I like this one. Might have to just finish that one off. So I also, in the title was something about going back to Germany. And it's Italian. Yes, it's pretty good. Yeah, it is. It's not too strong, not too heavy. I don't see any alcohol content on here. Imported from Edison, New Jersey. That's a bummer. You know, that's one thing that I really hate about getting a lot of drinks over here, is that it might be Italian, it might be, you know, whatever, but how do you know it's really coming? Because I know that you can buy stuff that's labeled German or whatever, and it's not. It's brewed here by Anheuser-Busch. So it's got all our crap in it, all our garbage that we put in drinks and food, and it's not done the proper way, I guess. I don't know, but this is pretty good. What would you call that? Is that an amber? Not quite. It's not red enough. Pretty good. Yes, ghost peppers it was very, very good. So, going back to Germany, we 5%. It's not bad. It was about average. We are planning to go back to Germany this summer, and it's my wife's birthday, my wife's sister's birthday. So we'd like to get back to celebrate that with her. That happens in July, and so yeah, we want to try and get back this time for maybe, we're thinking probably 3 weeks, around the 10th of July through the 30th. So 20 days or so. I can't wait. I miss it already. After last summer being there for a couple weeks. It's always such a fun time to just hang out with family, or, you know, we rented a car last time, so I got to take my little trips like I normally do. Went to France, saw some old ruins. What do you call them? A chateau, which was pretty cool. And then, of course, my wife and I went to Switzerland for a few days. This time, we would like to plan another trip, just the two of us. Don't know where to go yet. We'd like to hit up a different country, somewhere neither one of us have been, or somewhere where she has been, but it's been a long time. So I'm not sure where, if anybody has any suggestions. I mean, it would be hard to say if you don't know where I've been. We haven't been to Italy. We haven't been to Austria. Haven't been to Czech. or Poland. I mean, she went to Poland a while ago. I don't know that I want to go that direction, to be honest with you, just because of world events right now. Be pretty scary. But anywhere else, I mean, her top place in the world dream vacation is Greece. And so we really would like to get to Greece. Portugal, we've always wanted to go to Portugal as well. I've been to Spain. We've both been to Spain. I lived in Spain as a foreign exchange student in high school. And then my wife went to Spain a number of times on family vacations when she was growing up. But neither one of us have been to Portugal. So that would be cool. The other thing is I'm trying to find somewhere where I can go dive as well. So if I can take my scuba gear with me and then find a dive shop and charter, a boat or something, that would be super cool for me to go do that. So yeah, June or July, we're planning on going back and visiting family. And I would like to, I know it's always really difficult just because of people's schedule, but I'd like to do some meetup of some sort, with at least a few people. Just, I don't know where that would happen. I would be willing to travel a little bit to meet some people. I know that there are a few people out there that have already expressed interest in that, but just the logistics behind all of that is pretty difficult. But I think it would be a lot of fun. Even if I had to go, a couple hours, we are gonna rent another vehicle, probably just so I can drive whenever I want. So that shouldn't be an issue. I just don't know where a good place would be. Maybe down in Bavaria, maybe Munich area, or even more east of where my wife's from. So she is from Rhineland-Pfalz. So that area right there is where we will be, but I could definitely go somewhere around there anyway. Have I been to Canada? Yes, I have been to Canada, and funny story, it was by complete accident. It was when I was in Pennsylvania as a recruiter, and a friend of mine and I went to Niagara Falls and took the wrong road. I missed our turn. Thankfully, we were both military, so we both had military IDs. And when we got to the border, the Canadian guy just kind of looked at us like, "Oh, so what you doing in Canada?" I'm like, "Oh, whoops." So we didn't mean to go this way, but the guy was super cool, let us in. Got to see it from the Canadian side. He was even joking around and said, "Well, Niagara Falls from the Canadian side's better than the US side, so you made the right choice." But that's the only time I've been to Canada by complete accident, and it was just for a weekend. But I'd like to go back somewhere, Vancouver maybe on the western side, just because that's closer to where I am right now. But yeah, it would be pretty cool to see Canada when I'm trying to see Canada. But our next trip, I believe, is going to be Mexico. Our anniversary is coming up in May. We hit 25 years in May, so a long time. And we've never had a proper honeymoon. Not to say this is going to be our honeymoon, but just to celebrate 25 years and go to Mexico. Probably West Coast Mexico, not too far from here. We can get down to Rocky Point, Mexico in about 3.5, 4 hours by driving. So that might be what we'll do. And then I can dive a couple days down there as well. But that Mexico, we've never been to Mexico, and which is kind of funny living in Arizona because, like I said, it's just a few hours away. And so we're gonna check that one off the list. Go down to Mexico for a while. The dive shop I got my scuba certification from does trips a lot, every few months almost, I think. And just this month, beginning of the month, they had a trip to Cozumel. Unfortunately, we didn't have the money at the time, couldn't take the time off because they are kind of expensive, but it's 7 days of all-inclusiveness. So excluding plane ticket, but you're at a resort. It's like 3 or 4 dives a day for 6 days. So you get a lot. So it's a dive trip, So you're getting those dives in, but the food, the stay, all inclusive. I think you buy your own drinks, of course, but can be pretty pricey. But maybe next time. I think they're doing another one in November. So that would be kind of cool to get down there in November. Be a little warmer down there than it is up here. But so yeah, Mexico's next on our trip list. But then definitely Germany this summer. And I can't wait. Can't wait. Alp John, thank you. All is well. Oh, okay. 40 minutes from Niagara in Canada. Happens all the time. I you get to driving, talking, whatever, and then all of a sudden I'm at the border and thinking, oh, crap. All right. Well, good thing we have military IDs because they were cool with that. We didn't have passports with us because we weren't planning on going to another country. But yeah, it was really cool. Niagara Falls is one of those things that you need to see once. It's kind of like the Grand Canyon. Spectacular. Don't know that I need to go again. But because I did go up with my wife and my mom on the U.S. side later. So it was pretty cool. I have not been out to Fiery Furnace. And I mean, I've driven through Utah, Idaho, Nevada. I've driven through a lot of places, never stayed in any of those places very long. I've driven through quite a few states, just from trying to get from point A to point B without staying too long in each place. That would be a kind of a cool thing, is to try and visit all 50 states. I don't know that that's going to happen. A lot of time and money involved. But we've always kind of wanted to visit as much as we can. California is also another one. I've been to California a couple times. My wife, we went, but it was to drop her and the boys off at the LA airport so they could go back to Germany a number of years ago. But she really wants to go to San Diego. So that would be kind of cool. Maybe not right now. LA is getting hammered with snow, of all things. Just this weather's stupid. Yeah, I'm hoping diving on the Mexican coast would be pretty cool. I know they do boat dive. It's called a drift dive. So you go out on a boat and then you get in the water and the currents take you down. So then the boat ends up, they follow you and then pick you up. So you're just drifting, through the current down the coast, which would be pretty amazing. A little weird, a little scary maybe at times because I've never done it. Obviously, a lake doesn't have current, but you get off the coast and some of those currents I've heard can be pretty strong, and you don't fight it. You're along for the ride. Hopefully you're taking pictures along the way because you're not getting back to where you were. So that's kind of the way it is. But yeah, I really want to. I got my GoPro set up with the underwater housing and then a light and the filters I need. So I'm all ready to go. I just need to find the time and place to go. Hey, Carl, thank you very much. I do, as a matter of fact, stay in contact with a few of my buddies. As a matter of fact, I'm in Arizona right now because of one of them. We served together in Germany, my second tour over there, and his wife is German as well. And when we both got out of the military, he came home to Arizona. I went home to Wyoming. And by a lot of different moving parts and choices and paths that life took me on, we ended up getting in contact again and came down here. My wife and I flew down one June, stayed 4 or 5 days with them just to see what it was like, and then moved the next month. So in July, we packed all our stuff and moved down here. So I've been in contact with him, obviously. Another buddy of mine, I just haven't seen him in 20 years, and I saw him like 3 times in the span of 3 weeks almost. But he's still in the military, and he was out here in Phoenix for some work. So the 3 of us actually got together one night and had a few drinks, which was pretty cool. And then he came back through with his family, so he came over to the house for a little bit, and I actually sold him my old CNC machine. So then he was in town again for business, and then rented a truck. They live in Texas, so then he loaded up this CNC and then drove home to Texas. There's a few others that we're in contact on Facebook. Haven't seen each other since our Germany days. But we are still in contact, and it's a lot of fun to stay in contact with them to see how things are going. Obviously, we're always gonna have that connection of being in the military together. So I think also there is a planned reunion coming up for our unit in Germany. I know they've been trying for a while, but I just saw on Facebook again that they're trying to do it again. So I might try and get out there to see more people. Fiery furnace about 3 miles away from the arches. I really want to get up there and Utah and go around, see the arches, see Monument Valley, see a lot of that stuff, because I hear it's very special, real special place. I've driven through it on my way to Wyoming, but we just never stopped. So one of these days we'll have to get there and make a specific trip and stop. Will you show us videos from diving in Mexico? Of course, I'm gonna video all of that stuff. Just trying to figure out. All right, Thorium, you be safe out there. It's Saturday evening. Saturday evening. It is Saturday evening, huh? Saturday afternoon here. Thanks for stopping by. So have a safe night partying. Yes, I will be videoing a lot of diving. I wanted to get the GoPro out when I got my certification, because once I was done with that first dive, I was certified. So I wanted to get out and grab my GoPro, go back under again, do another dive with the camera. But I started to get pretty cold toward the end and shiver, and so I knew I probably shouldn't push my luck. So I just got out. But I can get with the dive shop. I can rent some gear, and they are super cool. And I could probably go out to the lake when they're doing another class and just get some more dives in, just so I can start building those dives, because I think for the next level, the advanced open water, I have to have at least 25 dives under my belt. So that would be one way to do it. And I would like to test out a different buoyancy compensator, a different BC. The one I had was a vest style, so air pumped all the way around it. They aren't very stable underwater because you have air around the side and in front too, so I tended to roll quite a bit. I had to really concentrate on staying level. And then they have another one, it's called a wing, where it's just on your back and it's kind of like a donut that fills with air, and that actually is a lot more stable underwater. It keeps you in that trim position, horizontal, which is what you want. So I want to try one of those. So I'm going to go out to their pool one of these weekends and test one of those out. I figure I might as well rent and test as much as I can before I decide to purchase anything. That way I know what I like. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be taking my camera everywhere I go now. So 9 p.m. in Hamburg. It is 8-hour difference, because Arizona is one of those only places that doesn't observe daylight savings. I wish the rest of the world would just get rid of that, because it's stupid. But it's hard for us because everybody else changes times twice a year, and I don't always remember when or what direction. So like right now we're Mountain Standard Time, but then when in the spring, they change their clock an hour forward. So they'll be an hour later than us, but then we'll be at the same time as California. And right now, California is an hour behind us. So it just gets confusing. So I wish they would just delete it all. Any other questions or anything out there? I know there was one thing that I was going to talk about. Going back to the comment section or comment, the comment on if anybody has given me backlash for some of my videos. And I think one guy, I don't know where he's from. I don't even remember his name. But I think he completely misunderstood my last video about German patriotism. Because what he had commented, I was like, where in any of that did I say that? I mean, it didn't make any sense at all. I kept thinking, did you watch the same video that everybody else? Because I don't think you understood. So there's comments like that too. And that one got a lot of backlash, basically, not from me, but for the two ladies that I reacted to, because apparently even the German girl got it wrong that the first verse of the German national anthem is not in fact banned, and she said it was. So I got a lot of comments on how she was completely wrong. It's nonsense, obviously they can word it in a bit nicer way, but people are people. And I kind of knew that already, that it wasn't banned outright. It's just not sung. But that was an interesting video to do, because being married to a German, I kind of have an inside scoop to a lot of things. And that's never been a topic of conversation ever with her family, with friends, with anybody over there. It's never, they don't have the German flag at their house flying all the time. The other comment that this person made was something about me being racist and putting people's ethnicity down for flying a flag. And I don't remember ever saying any of that or putting people down for flying. I mean, we live in the United States. We're a free country. Wave the flag. I don't care. Everybody on the block that I live on can wave their flag. Doesn't bother me one bit. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I don't care. So I think people misunderstood me complaining about it and thinking, no, nobody should wave their flag. And that's definitely not the case. You want to wave the flag, wave the flag. I certainly don't care, but I don't understand. I don't understand why here it seems to be such a thing, where other places it's not. So I don't know. Do they care when you don't wave the flag? No, they really don't. I don't think. I mean, nobody's told me, hey, you need to put a flag in your front yard. I don't think it's discussed like that. And I've thought about having a flag. They have little flag holders you put on the front patio, or we have a little covering, like a little porch. And I've thought about it. Actually, what I wanted to do is put one American and one German. That's our household. We are a U.S. citizen and a German citizen. But then on the other hand, I was like, why? Why do I want to bring attention to that, for one? And two, it's really, I don't know. It's not that it's nobody else's business, but it really isn't anybody else's business. But no, nobody's ever gotten mad at me for not wearing a flag or not flying a flag or having a flag. So it's just this weird, what really just boggles me is you have these jacked up trucks, these massive diesel 40-inch tires, jacked up 6 inches, and they got a 8-foot US flag flying in the bed of the truck. I don't. And they're not in a parade. They're just going to work or going to the store. And that, I don't understand that. I don't get it. Now, back in 2020, along with that flag, they had another particular flag with a certain ex-president on it. So I don't know if they, I don't know. It's so funny to me. It really is. It's just like, I don't understand the big deal. But again, you do you. You know what I mean? I don't care. I'm not losing sleep over somebody waving 14 flags in front of their house and wearing flag pajamas to bed and, you know, singing the national anthem every morning at 8. I don't care. But I don't understand why here it's such a huge thing where in other places it's not. And like I said in the video, it's almost like they have to remind themselves of where they are, who they are, or it's one of those, they're flying it to remind those that they disagree with who they are and where they come from. I mean, that might be it too. People like me who criticize a lot of things, maybe they're trying to show me, hey, I'm an American and I have a lot of pride. I don't care. I don't. So that video got a lot of comments, kind of roasting the two girls that I reacted to, for one, just based on the national anthem controversy. But other comments were a lot in line with what I normally get for those videos. What else? Let's see here. Have I missed any questions? You know, the other thing about a lot of the comments, and it's really nice to see, is that I've gotten comments from other veterans that thank me for what I've done with the videos or that agree. And that's nice to see because a lot of times I feel like I'm kind of the outcast, you know, because we're trained to think a certain way, we're trained to believe a certain way, and if you don't, then you're wrong. But it's nice, and I know that there are others out there who served in the military who think the same way I do. A lot of times they just aren't as vocal, or they're vocal in ways that I don't see or in areas that I don't see. So that's nice to get those comments from other vets who agree with what I'm doing. And it all boils down to caring, you know. I do care about the United States, and that's why I criticize, and that's why I do what I do. So yes, Jacob, we are thinking about moving to Germany permanently. I don't know when. Hopefully within the next few years, but we've been saying within the next few years for the past few years. So it is going to happen. Probably not as soon as I would like it to happen, unless something drastically changes with job market or any of that. But yes, it should be a lot easier because my wife is a German citizen. So a lot of the headache that other channels here on YouTube, like American couples that live in Germany, had to go through, we won't have to go through because she's a citizen and she knows the system. And we have family there that she can get help from if she doesn't know, because we've been out of Germany for so long. So I think it'll be a lot easier. Also, the path to my German citizenship will be a lot easier because we've been married for so long, which is something that I would consider getting if we moved. I would need to be, a lot more fluent in German than I am now, but that's a work in progress. But yeah, we are planning to move, hopefully in the next couple years, and then get citizenship over there after a while. The thing is, and here's the reason why I want German citizenship. And here's the reason why I think me getting a German citizenship makes more sense than my wife getting a U.S. citizenship. For her to get a U.S. citizenship, well, now because of recent policy changes or things that are happening, I don't know that they're set yet, but Germany has been discussing the idea of allowing dual citizenship, whereas before they really frowned upon it. So if she were to get a U.S. citizenship years ago, she may have had to give up her German citizenship. That's just something I wasn't going to let her do. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because the only two benefits she gets from becoming a citizenship that she doesn't already have is the right to vote and the right to own a freaking gun. Now, we don't do guns. I have a couple, but they're my grandfather's old hunting rifles. I don't pull them out. I don't shoot them. They're in a case. They're locked up. They're hidden. And I could get rid of them tomorrow. But they are sentimental, obviously for that reason. But the right to vote, I can understand her wanting the right to vote, especially because she is a teacher and the local elections matter to her because it affects her directly. National elections are a joke. Doesn't matter who you vote for anyway because it's stupid the way the system is set up. So it doesn't really matter. That's it. Those are the only two benefits that she would get by becoming a citizen. And the pros don't outweigh the cons. So for me to become a German citizen, I become a citizen of Europe, a European citizen, which means I could work anywhere in Europe. So if we wanted to move to Spain, if we wanted to move to Hungary, France, wherever, I could still get a job. Plus, so that right there makes more sense to me because it seems like if people who are part of the European Union it's easier for them to do certain things than it is for a citizen of the United States. Second, if I got my German citizenship, I would seriously consider voiding my U.S. citizenship. Just getting rid of it. That would be a decision that I would not make lightly. So I don't want anybody to think that I would be quick to give up my U.S. citizenship. It'd be a lot of talk with my wife, a lot of writing down pros and cons, a lot of discussions with my family. So I would definitely not take that decision lightly. But here's the reason why I would do it. The United States is one of the only, if not the only country in the entire world who taxes its citizens who don't even live in the country. My wife, being a German citizen, has a green card. She is allowed to work in the U.S. Germany does not force her to pay German taxes on her U.S. income. Now, if I work in Germany, the U.S. would tax me for my German income, as well as paying taxes for Germany. Tell me that's not corrupt. Why? Why do I need to pay in a system I am no longer a part of? I'm not using the roads. I'm not using their public transportation. I'm not using the police, the fire department, any of their social services. I have nothing to do with the United States if I'm living in Germany. Why is the government going to take my money? Corrupt. It's just basic corruption, greed, whatever you want to call it. So that would be the main reason why I would just give up, sever ties completely with the United States and say, you know what, piss off. I'm not a part of you anymore. You can't take my money. It might be a childish reason to do that, but it's one of those things that I've thought a lot about. I do receive a VA disability. I would be losing that if I gave up my U.S. citizenship. So that's another thing to consider. Although, I just got a letter stating that they didn't collect enough from me when I got out of the military. So now they're going to take my entire disability check every single month for the next 10 months so I can pay it back. I got a severance pay when I left the military, but you're required to pay it back. So I'm losing my disability for the next year anyway. Another thing that just blows my mind, that they do not care for their vets. They don't. You're just another number. They use you and abuse you while you're in, and once you get out, they don't give two shits about you. See you later. They'll pump you full of drugs before they try and help you. So that's one of the other things that I would have to consider, would be giving up that income per month. And it's not small. It's not huge. It's not nothing I could live off of alone, but it's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, it is over $1,000 a month. I would have to be able to figure out a way to compensate losing that $1,000 a month, whether it be YouTube or a small business or something else. But if I could financially do it, I would. So that is a plan. I know that was kind of a long explanation of just moving to Germany, but it's one of those I've thought about it a lot for many years. So a lot of veterans are a little more worldly due to traveling. I believe that 100%, that we've seen the world a little bit. Granted, you do have soldiers that never leave the United States or never get out of one place, but the majority or a vast number of them do get to see at least two places. And to be able to see the other side of things, granted, it also has to come down to that individual soldier or person having an open mind to what they're witnessing. And a lot of them won't. They will still believe the United States is the greatest country in the world, no matter if they saw what is better. They won't believe it. But there are some that see, oh, you know what? We are really messed up. We can do a lot better for our citizens, for our vets or whatever. My eye-opening experience was Bosnia when I was deployed to Bosnia in the late 90s. And I saw, towns completely destroyed by the war that they had. And a little boy, maybe 7, 8, playing in his front yard, smiling, laughing, having a good time. And you look up and half of his house is missing. They have blankets for the fourth wall. And that right there, that hit me so hard that I thought, we are so entitled in the United States that I have nothing to complain about. Zero. I can't bitch about anything, because here's a 7-year-old playing with a little soccer ball, laughing, having the time of his life. And when he goes home, half his house is missing. There's bullet holes and everything. So that right there is what opened my eyes. That's what I thought, man, I can't complain about anything. And we complain about the stupidest stuff. And of course, it's because we get into our little bubble and, the internet speed isn't fast enough, or, the car in front of us isn't fast enough or whatever. We get into our little groove or whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, we have nothing to complain about. Nothing. So that was my eye-opening experience to what the world was like. And it was a shock. It really was. And thankfully, I got to marry a European and see that side of things, spend many years over there, seen a lot of different places, and I have the open mind about it. I see what's better in other places. I see what's wrong with other places as well. So yeah, I think being in the military gives you that opportunity to have an open mind. Now it's whether or not you take that opportunity or not is another question. What about our son? Is that easy for him to, if you want? We have two boys, 23 and 18. They're actually going to be 24 and 19 next month. It's a good question. I think up until they were 18, they were considered dual citizens automatically. And I think at least this was the way it was before. And because what I've heard, I haven't done a whole lot of research to be honest with you about it, but from what I heard when he was much younger, before Finn was born, was that when he turned 18, became a legal adult here in the U.S., he would need to decide German citizenship or U.S. citizenship. Obviously, it's beyond that point now, but being that his mother is a German citizen, I don't think they would have an issue in Germany proving, citizenship or, dual citizenship. Now, he thinks he wants to move over there as well. Finn, our youngest, isn't so sure based on our last trip over there. But I think Liam, the older one, we were on vacation. It was a good time. We weren't there to work. We weren't there to pay bills. We weren't there to do life's requirements, right? So it's always going to seem like the perfect place when you're on vacation. I don't think he realizes how much work it would be to live there. And he would have to learn the language as well, which he doesn't know. Neither one of them do, which is our fault. We should have been teaching them along the way, but can't change that now. So I don't know what their plan is. They are more than welcome to come with us, and they're more than welcome to stay here. They're both adults. They can make their own choice. Crazy tax system. Yeah, it's a stupid tax system. It's just dumb. Yeah, how the vets get treated is insane. It's sad. It's really, really sad. There was something I saw the other day that the same people who will run across the street to thank a vet in uniform is the same person who will go across the street to avoid the homeless guy on the street who is a vet. So it's like the only time they're proud of their military is when they are in uniform. When they're not in uniform, they don't care. They don't care. What's my go-to sport? Foosball, obviously. And I'm not joking. That's not a lie. Football is our sport. I do like baseball. And spring training is coming up. I think it starts this weekend, as a matter of fact. So that's pretty exciting. American football, really don't care anymore. I used to be a huge American football fan. I do watch it once in a while, and I do have my favorite team, and I do like certain players, but if I don't watch it, I'm not heartbroken. But football, soccer is our favorite, and two bucket list items: going to a Premier League game, because I think that would be just insane, and going to a Bundesliga game. Again, because that would be insane. We have a minor league, I guess, soccer team here in Phoenix. My wife and I went and watched them play, and they were playing San Diego, which the coach of San Diego happens to be Landon Donovan. So if you are soccer fans and U.S. soccer fans or know anything about the old U.S. soccer team, you know Landon Donovan was a player. And I hate him with a passion. I can't stand that guy. I thought he was arrogant as a player. I didn't think he was as good as he thought he was. He was a ball hog, bad attitude, tried taking time off before World Cup and then expecting to be on the starting team. Yeah, get out of here. He's the coach of San Diego. So we went to that game, and Phoenix Rising was down 2-1, closing seconds of the game. And the Rising had 3 or 4 corner kicks just back to back to back. And I had my camera, it was a record crowd, like 5,000 plus people. And this isn't even MLS. This is like the level below Major League Soccer. So pretty awesome turnout. And on the final corner kick, we scored. And I thought I hit record, and I didn't hit it. But the entire crowd, it was that, if you've ever been to a sporting event and like the home team wins or comes from behind, it's like the movies. I mean, it seriously gives me goosebumps just thinking about it right now. But the entire place just erupted, and that was game over. I mean, that was the last play of the game. So we tied them. We didn't win, but we didn't lose. And it was amazing. So I'd like to see more of those games, but they're just so far away from here. It's like an hour drive, hour and a half drive just to get to the, good grief, work. See, I'm never not at work. Whatever. So yeah, soccer, go-to sport every day. But other people, when they see that boy in his house, would only be confirmed that the rest of the world is worse. Yeah, I mean, it depends on your perspective and, you know, whatever. Yes, it works that way for all U.S. expats if they are still a U.S. citizen. When we file our taxes, there's a section in our year-end taxes. Did you make any money outside the U.S.? And if you say yes, you're getting taxed. Obviously, up until now, you know, right now, I don't make any money outside the United States. You're still a citizen of the United States, so you are still required to file taxes. No matter where you are in the world, you have to file taxes. Now, whether or not you're entirely truthful on that tax form is up to you. But there is a section for those who don't live in the U.S. or those who live in the U.S. and is still making money outside the U.S. You have to claim that. You have to file that. Google it. It's a thing. It's a real thing. In the United States, the only place that does it. My wife doesn't have any tax forms from Germany. They don't care what she pays over. She's not a part of that system. U.S., we are required to file taxes, even if we don't live here. Do your sons speak German? No, unfortunately, they don't. All right, Celtic Kelly, thanks for stopping by. Have a great weekend. No, they don't speak German, unfortunately. Check out the difference between Norwegian, Swedish, and Danish Viking. That would be a cool video, because I love some Norse history. I might have to check that one out. Do I have a pen? I need to write this down just so I don't forget. I don't right now. I'll get it. Norse magic and beliefs. Okay, I'll check that out. Hey, Alan, thanks for joining. Oh, thanks for the compliment on the studio. Perfect sound now. Yeah, that's been a trip. So right now my sound's coming from my Blue Yeti, which is mounted on an arm up to the ceiling, kind of. So that's the audio right now. And then, yeah, that would be great, Lars, if you could. Do you have my Discord? I have a Discord. I just don't know what it is because I'm not on that computer right now. But that'd be great. Yeah, and then the sound for my other videos, like the reaction videos, I figured out finally that, I use the Rode Wireless Go 2 mic, and when it's on my that first one I released, it only played out of one ear mostly. I have to manually go in and change it to mono, but both left and right channels for mono. Then it's much better. It's another step, but at least I figured it out. And I'm glad the sound's a lot better. Nothing worse than watching a video that you want to watch or otherwise and the sound sucks. So I appreciate it. German language learning is going slow. It's one of those discipline things, I guess, that I don't have much of. I have been listening to podcasts in German on my way to and from work. The other day, I was doing work in the office, had my headphones on, and was just listening to German podcasts. Not really paying attention, trying to follow along every word, but just hearing it, just getting that cadence of the German language. Because I think that's part of the issue I have, is that I can read it, but I probably sound really stupid reading it because it's not a natural intonation of the words, so I think hearing it more, I'll get that pattern. And then there are times where I'm like, oh, hey, I know what they're talking about. But I really need to just dedicate a certain amount of time every day to sitting down and reading and writing and listening to it. It's just, for me, I have a hard time figuring out the best way to learn it. I'm much better in a classroom setting, like structured learning, but I'm not going to spend the money to go to take a college class just for German because it's stupid expensive. So I have to figure out that way that works for me. But my wife and I have been speaking more German in the house. We still text in German. I still look a lot of things up, but it helps me remember them. And then speaking in German, I do find it's so weird why I don't do more of it, because when I start thinking of German and trying to think of how to say it to my wife, and then I say it, I find myself it being easier, so it's just dumb that I stop or don't continue doing it. But it is going, I have 5 months. We're going back to Germany in July. I've given myself 5 months to learn it. Not BC1 level, but B2 level, B1 level, so I can sit with her family and we can talk and have a conversation normally in German. That is the plan. 5 months. I got 5 months, and I better get cracking on it, because it's the longer I put it off, the longer it's going to take, right? Okay, so there is another country that does tax citizens. I knew it wasn't that many, though. I know the U.S. is like the big one. Schalke, all right. So I've watched Schalke. We're Kaiserslautern fans, FCK. Only because that's where my wife is from, or right near there, and her dad was offered the starting goalkeeper position when he was younger. Turned him down, but that was before they got paid to play. So growing up, they were always Kaiserslautern fans. So then, of course, when I married her, I became a huge fan as well. So that's our favorite team. They aren't. I mean, they're doing a little better now, but boy, they really just tanked. They went all the way down to like the third league. But I was lucky enough to be there in 1998 when they won the cup. You know, when they went from second league to first league, beat Bayern, beat Dortmund, beat all those guys, and won the cup. And we went to Kaiserslautern for the parade. It was amazing. I mean, that was when Michael Ballack played for them, when they had a great team. And then if like the next year they just nosedive. So I don't know. We still root for them. And I try and go out to the stadium every time we're there just to look around. But one of these times I'm going to go out there and watch a game. That would be great. Do the women's team still get treated like movie stars? Actually, they kind of get treated like shit, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe movie stars, they still don't get paid what they need to get paid. They can still run circles around the men's team. There's such a discrepancy between men and women, anything, but in sports, you know, where they aren't treated the same. They're treated inferior to the men's team when they could just whoop the men's team. Yeah, I could watch dub shows as well. What I've done as well is there's a couple YouTube videos. They're like little movies that teach you or that are in German. And I've watched those and because it's slower. You know, they don't talk so fast. That's one thing I told my wife. I said, we're going to speak more German, but you have to slow it down. There's no way I'm going to understand if you talk the same speed as you do with your sister. And so she's been really good at it. But yeah, there's these little movies that I've watched, and I plan on going back and watching them again. This time, the first time I went just straight through and just watched the whole thing or all the video. There was a series. This time I want to go through and pause every time I don't know a word or anything and study that, and then go through it again. And you know, the more times I can get through it, the more times I'll be able to just watch and understand and hear what they're saying. And there are times where I'll turn on the English subtitles for a little bit just to put the sound of German to the English word, or the German translation and the English translation, so I can kind of look at it that way. It's just repetition. Really, that's all it is. It just comes down to repetition. And the more I do it, the easier it'll be, right? Jacob, I would have to do some more research on that. But no, it's not just things that are tax-free in Germany that we're taxed on. If I'm making an income, I have to announce that. I have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Claim that income. We get taxed on everything. And then people worry about paying higher taxes in another country. It's stupid. Yeah, FCK is doing a lot better. I really want to get to a game. That would be so much fun. All right, Lars, thank you. I'll look that up. And I do have a Discord server, so maybe in the description of this video, once we're done, I will link that in, or I'll start putting it in all my descriptions of my YouTube videos, just so people know it's there. I don't do a whole lot with it, mainly because I don't know why. I mean, I don't, sounds kind of silly. What's the purpose? If I'm not a gamer, or if I'm not mid-journey, you know, I'm not these things that I don't know why to use it. I don't know. It's another community, but I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it. Maybe I don't know. I have somebody who was on my last one that actually helped me get it started. So I do have one. I'll put the link down somewhere. Yeah, I guess it's just another place to hang out and chat that doesn't have to go live, right? I will give you that link. And I think also that's a good place where we can all chat and actually everybody has a way to chat, like live, instead of just texting. Well, yes, actually, I'm still planning on moving to Germany. I don't know when. I talked a little bit about it before. A couple years. We are going back in July again. Um, to visit my wife's family, um, Tomas. So I mentioned earlier, it would be kind of cool to be able to get a little meetup of whoever can or whoever's in the area, or whoever can make a little trip. I'd be willing to drive a couple hours either direction, any direction, to meet up with a few people. We are planning on being there a little bit longer this time, so hopefully about 3 weeks. It's my wife's sister's birthday, so I know 1 week will be kind of dedicated toward that. And then my wife and I want to take another little trip of our own. But other than that, I'm open. I will drive a few hours if I need to. But yeah, July we're going to go back. And then we are planning on moving back at some point. All right, Thorsten, have a good day. Thank you for joining. Would I like to have a YouTube career? Um, hmm. Yeah. I mean, it would have to be on. See, one thing that I'm I try to be careful of is not just go mainstream, not just to make money, because I do care about all of you guys, that join me here on live chats or that comment on my videos, that watch the videos, that take the time to do that, and I don't want to alienate any of you. But I do want to make money doing it. So there's that fine line, that balance of doing what's kind of mainstream to bring in those that ad revenue and those advertisers, but to also not alienate your fan base, right? To still put out content that they want to watch. And so I'd love to be able to replace my income with YouTube or multiple streams of income online, that I could do this at home, full time, and not worry about it. I am going to have to be right back. My computer, I just noticed the battery level is really low, and I'm just going to run in real quick to grab the charger. I'll be right back. I apologize for the delay. Oh, sorry about that. Totally spaced out putting a charger on the computer, so. Where was I? In Moment, Nuremberg. That would be cool. I've been to Nuremberg once. I was really drunk. Don't remember a whole lot. I remember being a pretty place, but yeah, I think a meeting would be pretty cool. Smash that like button, huh? Thanks, Tomas. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful weekend, and we will talk later. I'm about ready to open another drink here because this one is about done. And I'd like to try this other one here. I don't know, is that supposed to be a joke, Tomas? That's really live because I had to leave in the middle of it and come back? Or are you really sorry? That was a pretty good beer. I'll have to buy more of that one. So now it is Hopabräu, right? Weizbier. This is huge. This one is probably going to take me the rest of the day. Looks pretty cloudy as well. So oh, that's definitely a Weizbier. Yep, probably has the, oh yeah. Ooh, that one's delicious. Weissenbräu. Yeah, it's just says Weissbier, Hopabräu. It says brewed since 2010, handcrafted. So it's not very old. It's a Weizenbier. Not much else on the label. But that is delicious. That is a true Weizbier. It looks like it's got banana juice in it. Like when I have the banana Weizens. Little more sour than the other one. But still very good. That one is also a good one to put on the list. Wie spät ist das? It's 2 o'clock. Yeah, 8 hours. 8 hours behind. 8 hours behind Germany. So 2 Uhr. So that's because we're daylight savings. We don't count. So it'll change come whenever you guys move your clocks forward. It'll be 9 hours. Doesn't make any sense. So I had some questions on the artwork that I have. Somebody wanted to know a little bit more information about that in one of the videos, and those are my creations, my art, and what it is it's hard to explain, but it's a Polaroid, peel apart Polaroid film. So it's old film. You can get it now, but it's like, I've seen it on eBay for $1,000 for 10 pictures. It's stupid. But it went in an old camera where you take the picture, you pull it out real fast, and then you would peel it apart. And then your picture was right there. So it's like a little print, like a 3x5 print already as your picture, right? But there's a way, and I found this out by somebody else online a number of years ago, that if you take a neon sign transformer, and it's the big electronic piece that powers the neon signs, this one was 10,000 volts. So it was pretty scary to mess with. And what I did with the film is, instead of taking a picture through a camera, I just opened the film pack. I would lay it on a metal plate where one of the leads from the transformer was attached to the metal plate. I would lay it flat on there and then spray it with bleach or some other random chemicals, maybe a saline solution like salt, or do whatever, and then take the other end and hold it, and it would shoot a spark 2 to 3 inches long into that film, and then that was the result. So that is completely random. No two are ever going to be the same, but based on what chemicals you used and things like that would give you the different colors. So those colors are all natural to the original photo. But I'd love to do a demo of it, but I don't have any more film, and I'm not spending $1,000 for 10 sheets of film. It's just ridiculous. Polaroid stopped making it, so now you can't get it anywhere. But that's how those photos were made. And then I just had them blown up and put on canvas. But I know somebody out there wanted to know more about that. It's kind of cool that I got kind of a bookend look with these two. They are not the same. It just happened to be kind of opposite of each other, you know. And then the middle one with the yellow rings worked well for the middle piece. So yeah, it's kind of a cool effect. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions or comments or anything. We're going on about 2 hours now, so I should probably start to wrap this up. But unless anybody had anything else to mention, talk about, do anything else like that, that would be great. Thanks, Tomas. It's pretty cool how I would like to do it. I wanted to print them on metal, get a metal print. So it's shiny, would be pretty cool. Not a photo of that experiment. No, that is, well, I scanned the original and then had it printed on canvas. All right, good morning from Australia. I forgot you guys are the other direction. So you guys are before us. And then everybody else is behind us. So good morning, I guess, in Australia. You guys down in Australia, since it's March, you guys are getting ready for winter now, right? Being the opposite hemisphere, you guys were going through summer as we're going through winter up here north. Fun fact, I guess, when I got my scuba certification, there was a young lady in my class that was getting her scuba certification because she was actually taking a trip down to Australia. She might be down there right now, as a matter of fact. I know it was going to be soon, or it was last week. I don't remember, but she wanted to get her scuba certification first so that when she was down there, she could try and, do a charter dive trip. But I thought that was pretty cool. actually a few people in the class. There was one, two, three, four, five of us originally. She ended up doing it kind of on her own because it was pretty overwhelming for her to be, that's perfectly understandable. And then four of us guys that were in it, and two of those other guys were planning trips to either Mexico or somewhere else. So they wanted to get their scuba certification before they went on the trip. So three of them out of the five of us had plans to go somewhere already. So they were trying to get their certification before they went so they could do it. Linda, all right. Autumn starts 1st of March. We're still getting pretty cold weather, even in Arizona. I mean, this has been probably the coldest winter in the last almost 12 years I've been here. It's been ridiculous. And I say cold because it's cold to us. Obviously, those northern hemisphere or northern states and countries are dealing with a lot worse than we are. But for us, it's cold. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of gray skies, cold, windy weather. Being from Wyoming, my parents are dealing with minus 24 Fahrenheit. So whatever that is in Celsius. But that's why I moved south, because I didn't want to deal with that. Yes, I do believe it was either somewhere around the Great Barrier Reef. I do think that was part of her trip, part of her planned trip. But yeah, that would be so cool to go down there and see that. And Lower Saxony is one of the warmest winters. Yes, California did get snow. LA. So the Hollywood sign is covered in snow. That's how ridiculous it is here. Actually, here in Arizona, we had snow on the mountains south of us. And it does not snow in Phoenix very often, I will tell you that. And when it does, it's cold and people are stupid and they can't drive on dry roads, let alone wet roads. Luckily, it didn't stick here, but we had a nasty hailstorm come through. And I thought our windows on the west side were going to just shatter. It was little hail, but man, it was coming down like BBs. So minus 31 Celsius, yeah. That's their overnight low. Their high for the day was minus 4. So still cold. Way too cold for me. It's been in the 50s as a high here, and that's cold for us. That's miserable for us. Only because we're so used to 110, 40 degrees Celsius or higher. When it gets to 60s, it's cold. So the weather everywhere is just ridiculous. I don't care to see the snow anymore. I mean, I grew up in it, and I love to ski and snowboard and go snowmobiling, and do that sort of thing. But the older I get, the worse it is when it gets cold. It's just it's just nope, no fun. Yes, we do have we do have heaters. So it's not like Germany where hardly anybody has air conditioners. We do have central heating and AC. So we set it to about 73 Fahrenheit in the wintertime, just to keep it warm. But yeah, we have heaters. In the car, I have the heater on all the time. When I have to take the motorcycle, though, that's when it gets a bit cold, because there's no heaters on the motorcycle. But we do have heaters. 33 Celsius. Man, that's going to be warm. Is the cheese in Wyoming comparable to the European? Absolutely not. Cheese in Wyoming. No, European cheese is got it. Hello, everybody who's joining in. Yeah, there are new Polaroid films and cameras on the market, and I do have some. I have another Polaroid camera and more film, but it won't work. It's the way this film was created and made. It's what happens is that there's a little pocket with the chemicals, with the developing chemicals in it, and when you slide it through the camera, two rollers squeeze that, and it squeezes it across the face of the picture. And that's what develops the print. It develops it right away, because then when you unpeel it, you have to wait like 30 seconds or a minute, depending on how the temperature is outside. When you peel it apart, then it's wet. It's still wet. So there's no way to do this process on this modern film. That and shooting, this was FP100C film. So if you look that up on Google or eBay, FP100C, it's 100 ISO. So it was able to withstand the bright flashes of the spark. Now they had another one that was 3000 ISO basically. If you spark that, it blows it out, because 3000 ISO is very, very, very sensitive to light. So it didn't work either. So it had to be the 100C film. And it's just the way the process worked is what created those. What I might do is try shocking just regular 35 millimeter film in a canister. Maybe just shocking that and then taking pictures and then developing it to see how that turns out. I don't know. I'm all for experimenting. I love film photography. Actually, right up here on top of my cabinets, I have a large format enlarger. So I develop all my own film, all my own photos. That might be a interesting experiment to do, is just shock some regular film, see what happens. Linda, my opinion on a video. I mean, should I just look that up at some point, or maybe you could send me a little, or is it possible that I can find it? Because I'd love to check it out. Daily Show with Jim Oliver interviewing Philip Van Cleve. I don't know who that is. Is it a politician? And another politician. Wyoming is not the American cheese. If you're, I don't know who, somebody might think that. I don't know. But for us in the U.S., cheese is Wisconsin. That's where you get the cheese. The cheese heads, the Packers fans, they have hats that look like blocks of cheese. That's Wisconsin, not Wyoming. Yeah, Wyoming or Wisconsin. All right, I'll look it up, Linda. Hi, Reese. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'm always up for looking for new videos. One thing that is kind of a problem sometimes for me is just finding decent content, and that's maybe something else that I kind of wanted to mention in this live video, is just the content moving forward. I know that the vast majority, 90+%, are here for the reactions that I do. And I'm not going away from that. Don't worry. I will still do that. But I watch a lot of other channels, and I watch channels who react to other channels. And sometimes I find that, there's a certain channel out there. I'm not going to name names, but he gets so many views, right? And I'm not doing this just for the views, so don't think that I'm going that direction. But it's just I've done a lot of thinking about what makes a video worth watching, or why do some videos get more attention than others. So that sort of thing. So he can get 50, 60,000 views on a video shortly after he releases it. I watch it and I can't finish it. I mean, it's shallow content, to me. Obviously he has a big fan base, which is great. I'm not dogging any of that. It's just, where do I go with my channel? I don't want to do anything less quality wise, obviously, which is why I put this together. But I also want to grow and expand, and at some point would like more income from this sort of thing. But so it's hard for me to find those videos that's quality video to even react to. But then reacting to something that's so old sometimes doesn't make sense either, because there's some that I thought that I put aside, that I save, and then I go back and I'm like, well, that's 6 years old. Is that even relevant anymore? Or is it too political? Or I really don't want to have a political channel. It's really, I know I've done a lot of political based reactions, and I will continue to do so. I just, if you guys had any specific requests, or ideas, or anything that you'd like me to see and to react to, I'm all for it. I am open to anything. I do have kind of a playlist set aside for videos that I feel like are worthy of reacting to, but I don't know how deep of content people want to watch, because my videos tend to be pretty long, right? I mean, some of these reaction videos are less than 10 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, how are they reacting to anything? But then mine are 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Do I lose viewers based on the length? Do they get partway through and get bored and then leave? So it's a very fine line between finding that balance, between what people want, what they're willing to watch, and what I'm willing to produce, right? I guess. I don't know. Give me your thoughts. Had no ideas on issues of gun law. Nobody does. It's one of those that yeah, John Oliver, I think, right? These late night TV talk show people, it's hilarious because they'll go out on the street and just make complete fools out of these people, and they are clueless. They have no idea that they're being made fun of. I don't know where they find them. It's scary sometimes, but most people can't give you any valid arguments regarding gun laws. They have their regurgitated response to everything that doesn't make any sense. And you can prove them wrong on 14 different accounts, and it still won't change your mind. They're just that ignorant and that stubborn that they aren't going to change their views on anything. But they have zero valid arguments for the gun laws. I mean, it's just, it's sad, but that's the way it is. Yeah, Linda, it's hard trying new ideas, track new viewers. And I guess that's why I see a lot of people with multiple channels. And that's something I've thought about as well, too, because the videos I put out there, the more vlog style videos, get zero traction, like none. And then my reaction videos are just taken off. So I've thought about just separating them, just creating a brand new channel. Yes, I'll have to start from scratch with viewers and then monetization and all of that. But at least then the audience is true to that content. Whereas here, I feel like if I start doing more and more vlogs, I'll lose the viewers for the reactions. Because let's face it, people aren't going to wait through something they don't want to watch what they do want to watch. You know what I mean? So I have thought about doing a completely separate channel because I'd love to do more travel stuff. When my wife and I go back to Germany, when we visit all these places, even when we move, to start doing some sort of, you know, then that's the other thing. I don't want to be just another expat video channel. They're a dime a dozen. I have my favorites. They do very well. I'm sure you have your favorites. Black Forest Family comes to mind right off the bat. I love that couple. I love what they do. I love what they stand for. And I would love to sit down and have a drink with them. Very, very down to earth couple. I don't want to just become another expat YouTube channel. So there's got to be a twist. There's got to be a twist to it. Something I don't necessarily need to worry about right now because I'm not an expat. But that's something I have thought about, is to just split it up, do my reactions, because that's what, you guys have wanted to watch, and others, and continue to do that. And then maybe start something else with, my personal vlogs or travel videos or whatever. So that's kind of what I've been thinking of lately. You compared gun laws to crack cocaine and backyard pools. That sounds like John Oliver. So just drop the vlogs and keep this channel. You can have both travel on what you do. Yeah, I can. It's just that I don't. I notice it. Maybe if I post more, keep the vlog or keep the reactions every week. Actually, I've started to try and do 2 a week. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, do the reaction just to keep that viewership going, and then drop a vlog in there in the middle of that, or maybe on the weekend, something. It's a lot of testing, a lot of just trial and error, start type of stuff. So I didn't show a whole lot of videos from my last trip to Germany, Alan. One of the, and I've thought about this, and it's because I'm a photographer first a lot of times, and I don't even think about the video aspect of things until it's too late. So I took a lot of pictures, a lot of still pictures, but not a whole lot of video, or the video wasn't cohesive. When I thought about it, it was kind of afterthought, and then not a planning process of how am I going to put this into a full-length video where there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. That didn't dawn on me until after we came back, and I'm thinking, oh man, I missed so many opportunities to take these great vlog style videos or travel style videos, or even B-roll slow-mo stuff. I was heartbroken. I was like, man, I took so many photos, but I didn't take enough video. So that's something I got to consciously work on for the next time, is to plan out maybe some ideas for videos and then go out and shoot that. So it's there, because I didn't take enough video from Germany last time. Am I interested in topics regarding Ukraine war as an American? I am. I am very interested in that. Yes. Short answer, yes, I am. I think it's heartbreaking what's going on over there. Yeah. He has a bike, you have the motorcycle, and your wife is German, and you are you. Yes. That is absolutely true. We are all our own. It's just, I love their videos because they do a lot of work to produce their videos. And something right now that I don't have time to do that. I really don't. So I really appreciate that from them. And that's why I love watching their videos. And that's why I've actually reacted to one of their videos. And I have another one saved to try and react to. I don't know if I'll get to it or not. But yeah, we're everybody's our own, you know. And I have you guys, right? Who like to watch what I have to say, and they have their fans, and some of you are their fans, and I'm their fan, and I enjoy that they communicate back with the fans as well, because I've commented and they've responded to me, so it's great. But yes, you are absolutely right. I'm me, they're them. It's not going to be the same, but I don't want to do the cliche videos. You know, the ones that I'm going to compare an American house to a German house, and oh my God, look at the windows, they tilt forward. Yeah, everybody's seen that, and nobody cares anymore. So it's just that type of deal where it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to put my twist on it. So, you know, things will eventually pan out. I mean, like I said, I don't have to worry about it right now because I'm still in the US. I'm not an expat. I'm not worried about those videos right now. But it's something to think about. I haven't checked out the road trains yet. I did want to, because I got a few comments on the road trains in Australia, and I just have, I'm afraid to. I don't know. I mean, from what I've heard, there's something else. So I will definitely check that out. Oh, wow. All right. Reaction to Götz von Berlichingen? Count Dankula? One of the last nights in Germany and had an iron hand. All right. Mephisto, yes, I was stationed in Germany, Rhineland-Pfalz, Rammstein. Well, quite a lot longer than a few years ago. But yes, I was stationed over there. My first duty station was in Baumholder. And then I was stationed up north of Frankfurt near Hanau. Thanks, Thomas. That's kind of what I've separated myself from a lot of these other kind of reaction, because I want to have that discussion. I want to be able to think a little deeper besides just that superficial reaction of, oh my God, look. Because I do a lot of deep thinking myself, so that's just who I am. And so I think my normal reaction to anything is going to be thinking a little bit deeper into things. So I appreciate that you appreciate that about my videos. Hanau, yes. Rammstein's not far away from your hometown. Which direction? I don't want to ask your hometown in case you don't want to put it out there for everybody, but yeah, we were. Well, my wife is from maybe 20 minutes from Rammstein. Oh, you were born in Hanau. All right. Homburg. Okay. So your father's side is Danish. That would be pretty cool to visit Denmark one day. Um, all of those Nordic countries. I want to see them all. I want to see all of it. Uh, Scotland is my back. My ancestry is majority of Scotland, and that is somewhere that I would love to pioneer. Concern. Yes, I've heard of that. I have definitely been there. Yep. But yeah, Scotland is where my ancestry comes from, and I would love to visit Scotland. My mom and grandma got to visit Scotland a number of years ago for a clan reunion. But Denmark would be cool. Any of the Nordic countries, Finland, Sweden. All right. Vikings way back when. So you got Viking blood. That's pretty cool. And I'm sorry, but the Vikings aren't everything the movies made them out to be. Yes, they were brutal at times, but so were the civilized people, could be even more brutal. Denmark, yes. Your husband's half Scottish. Well, that's cool. Do you know the clan? Our clan name is the Wardlaw clan, Clan Wardlaw. So we are apparently descendants of Sir Henry Wardlaw, who started the first university in Scotland, and also descendants of Mary, Queen of Scots. So that's kind of cool. My grandma has done genealogy all the way back. We have mounds of books and papers on military history back to, we are actually descendants of Civil War, of the Civil War here in the U.S. So my grandma is part of Daughters, or I'm not Civil War, the Revolutionary War. So she is a member of Daughters of the Revolution. I could be part of the club of Sons of the Revolution. We have ancestors who fought in the Revolutionary War. So all of that is super cool. I'm so glad that she was interested in that and did the work behind that, because she's been all over trying to find records of everybody. It's really intense. All right, sends it. You're Danish. That's pretty cool. We were just talking about wanting to go back and the Dutch were all little angels. Okay. Yeah, if you want to, I mean, that would be interesting to know because, just clan names. The tartans, like our tartan, I have a piece of fabric from our tartan, the pattern and the colors and all of that. It's so fascinating to me, all this, the history behind all of it. So, how did you end up in Australia then? Obviously, lineage of everything else, I suppose. Like, how did I end up in the United States? 100% Dutch living in Germany. All right. Yeah, history can be so cool. You know, and going through school, I hated history. I did not, and maybe it was because of the way it was taught or the subject matter that we covered. Uh, my favorite class in high school was Russian history, as a matter of fact, because the instructor was very passionate, very good teacher, and it was the most interesting class I ever had. It was Russian culture, I believe, Russian history and culture, and it was very interesting. But it wasn't until I was in Germany in the military that I really started to get into history or care about more history. I think just because I saw those places and firsthand instead of in a history book. So oh, okay. Very interesting. Danish side came here for the gold rush. 100% Danish and live in Denmark. Well, that's good too. Yeah, I didn't like history in school, but now I love it. Something I miss most about being over there is just how easy it is to go from place to place and be in a completely different culture, a different land, a different country, different language, different traditions. Um, that would be super cool to be able to do. Whereas here, we do have a lot of culture, we do have a lot of history. Um, Not as much as Europe, obviously, but we still have, old ruins from, the old natives, Mexicans, I mean, New Mexico and Arizona and, all of that, which is really cool. But I can't just go somewhere else and be in a completely different culture. Completely different culture, different language, different everything, besides Mexico, and that's it. A first fleeter. Based on the name, I would guess that would be um, almost like the discoverers. Am I close? Like the first ones to set sail somewhere for somewhere new. Um, I'm just basing that off of first fleeter term. I could be way off, but that's my guess. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jacob. Vacation is not the same as living there, and that's for anywhere. People can come visit the United States and fall in love with it because they were on vacation. They didn't have to live here and put up with the BS and everything that goes along with living here. Just as, I've been in Germany. I've lived in Germany, but I was in Germany living as a U.S. citizen in the military. So that's even different than living there as a German citizen or somebody living off the economy of Germany. So you are absolutely right that just because you like somewhere because of vacation doesn't mean you would like it there to permanently live. Prisoners? I don't know. So we have 19 viewers, the most viewers I've had so far, and we're 2.5 hours into it. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. First fleet of convicts. Okay, so that was the prisoners. Gotcha. That is very interesting, Linda. Very interesting. Great grandfather was a Marine on the First Fleet. That's awesome. Yes, the U.S. does have an interesting history. Good and sad, like everybody else. Just not quite as long as a lot of other places. Yeah, our trip to Switzerland was amazing. Um, hey, Martine. Am I gonna say that? I'm gonna butcher that because I'm gonna say it the English way, the American way, and that's Martin. I hope that's okay. Thank you for liking my videos. But yeah, our Switzerland trip was unreal. I mean, you can see pictures like that in books and on TV and stuff, but until we pulled up and actually we were on our way there, and it's like I kept waiting for the Alps, for these giant peaks to pop out of something to see, and we couldn't see them. It's like they weren't there until we turned a corner or rounded this bend and went out, and I was like, oh, there they are. Huge peaks. And I know how big they are. It's just you can't judge the scale. Like in Grindelwald, we're standing there and you know it's tall because there's snow on it and it's July or June. And the top is in the clouds. But you can't tell just how big. And then we got to the other side and looked across the valley and then saw the village, and then you're like, oh, those are huge, just an absolute beautiful landscape. I really, really enjoyed our time in Switzerland. Yeah, I'll be doing a lot more videos on different reactions. I try and mix it up some so it's not all depressing. I like to have some fun in there. Oh, okay. Well, welcome aboard, Martin. I'm glad you made it over here. Um, so it's like in German. So am I saying it the Latin way, the Spanish Martin? Is that correct? Is that the German way? I have a hard time sometimes with names on the. Yeah, I'm rooting for us to get back to Germany sooner rather than later too. And I was just talking about the Black Forest family a little bit ago. That Martin. All right. You just more pronunciation instead of Martin, right? Then it's Martin. Martin. All right. We were just, I was just talking about the Black Forest family a little bit ago and how I like to watch their videos as well, and um, what they think about living in Germany. Although have to disagree with the whole traffic light debate. I think it was them that still thinks that it should be on the other side of the street. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that one, but I'll play the devil's advocate and say that I each one has its purpose. Let's put it that way. Right, exactly. I think it's when you hear somebody else's perspective about something, it it puts it in a different perspective, right? It would be like somebody from Germany coming here and talking about the United States might give me a different perspective on what it's like here, because I've grown up here. I've lived here most of my life. Granted, there are some channels out there that are from Germany who live here in the US and put out videos, and I disagree with them because I feel like they're missing the big picture, or they're commenting on just from where they live, right? The United States is massive compared to Europe. And if you live in the north and you're white and you experience one thing, I guarantee you, if you move to the south, even if you're white, but more importantly, if you were a darker skin color, you wouldn't think that at all. It would not be true. It'd be completely false. So I think a lot of these people miss that with the US, with the fact that there are so many racist areas still within the borders, along with a lot of other countries. But it's kind of shallow, a lot of their videos, because it's like, well, you come here and it's not like this in Germany because this is where I lived and I live here in the US. Yeah, well, I live in Wyoming and Arizona in the US, and I lived in a different area in Germany, and I can tell you for a fact it wasn't that way. It was different. So it is nice to get that different perspective from others, but we have to be careful to not to generalize too much on the entire culture, the entire country, the entire race, because it's not going to be the same for everybody. My son, Linda, when we were in Germany, until he was 3, we were in Germany, so he learned German. He went to German kindergarten, and then came over here, and he didn't speak any English. And talking to him on the phone, I didn't understand him. For one, he's 3. Who understands a 3-year-old to begin with? But then take a 3-year-old speaking a foreign language, I had no clue. So that's kind of funny that your own kids are speaking and you can't even understand them. I guess it's time to learn French. You have some Netherlands YouTube. Okay, I'll check it out. I will look that up and see. I'm always looking for different content, kind of like my last one was about trucks and how different they are from the US to Europe. And then I have more serious stuff that breaks my heart a lot of times, and I want to just go outside and scream. So I want to try and mix it up. So I'll look around and see what I can see. Yeah, Linda, it's tough at times. It's something you don't think about, right? It's one of those things you try not to think about. You just go on with your daily life, or you quietly push to change things for your own life. One thing that just absolutely terrifies me is the gun violence. Um, and I'm not afraid of guns. Obviously, I was in the military. I grew up in Wyoming. I shot my first gun when I was 10 years old. But all these stories of people just going about their normal life, going to the store, going to a dance studio, going to a place of worship, and being killed, um, absolutely terrifies me. You know, when my wife goes out, or we've gotten in the habit that even when I go to work, when I get to work, I text her, and it's just a kissy face emoji, but that tells her that I made it to work okay. When I'm on my way home, I will let her know, auf dem Weg, I'm on my way, so she knows to expect me at a certain time. She does the same with me. And then when one of us doesn't, the other one is texting saying, "Hey, you good? Where are you?" And it sucks. We do it partly just because we love each other and want to know that you're safe. And when are you coming home? Okay, I can expect you at this time. But the other part is you never know. Your next trip to Walmart might be your last trip anywhere. So yeah, it absolutely terrifies me, because it can happen to any town, any state, any person. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, black, white. Um, Obviously, a lot of times if you're not white, you have a better chance. But yeah, it's time for us to do something, as a country as well as a family. So yeah, the U.S. has its ups and downs. We are all descended from Europe, except for the natives. I don't know what it is about the gun culture here. It's like the Wild West. Um, it's brainwashing. It's just been ingrained in so many people for so long they can't see any other way. It's taking their Second Amendment rights. You can go to hell with your Second Amendment rights. It was put in place back over 200 years ago. It's not the same anymore, and so that argument with me doesn't count. You can't use that argument at all. um, and I don't see any change happening. I really don't. It doesn't matter if you change politicians. um, it's all lobbyist. It is the money being spent into the politician's pocket, so they can tell you one thing all day long. Yes, I'm for gun. I am for gun reform. Uh, and then they get elected, but they got paid off by lobbyists, so they could get elected, and now they're in the lobbyist pocket, and they're going to do what the lobbyists want. They're going to do what the NRA wants, not the people. So it's corrupt from the top down, and it's not going to change until actual laws get put in place to change that. Stop paying politicians to campaign. If you don't have the money to campaign on your own, you're not campaigning. But they should not be accepting bribe money, which is exactly what it is, to run for office. It's stupid. It's never been about the people. Maybe on paper that's what they wanted. But from the moment it got passed down, it's never been about the people. It's not. It's never going to be about the people unless the people do something about it. And unfortunately, I don't see that happening either unless something absolutely drastic happens. And then I honestly don't want to be here because that's full on civil war again. It's full blown you versus me, family versus family, and I don't want to witness that. My family is more important than, I don't know. It's hard to say something that I will move out of country with my family before I let this country tear itself apart. You know what I mean? I don't love this country that much. Sorry. It's not God, country, family to me. It's family, family, family. I don't believe in God anyway, so there goes that out of the equation. So it's family. Country can suck it. I'll go somewhere else, but my family comes first. Always. Always. Sorry, got on a little tangent there. Missed a lot of comments here. Linda, I have actually read the Second Amendment, but you're right. No, they take bits and pieces like they do out of anything. It's like religious people taking scripture out of the Bible. They will take what supports their argument, but leave everything else that doesn't support their argument. Same way with the Constitution in general, but definitely the Second Amendment. They know what it says, but they aren't going to quote what doesn't benefit their argument. Oh, there's been 2 or 3 times the number of mass shootings as days in the year already. It's mind blowing. Right. My eyes are open. I wish more people's eyes were open because then maybe change would start to happen. And I'm not saying that change is impossible or that we shouldn't try. It's not what I'm trying to say at all. I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough to make that change, at least right now. Things can change eventually. You're right. Family is always first. And that's what you don't see here. You don't see that here. It's God, country, family. That's the order. God, country, family. Even pro athletes. God, country, family. I'm like, sweet. So you're married, you got kids, you're going to shove them aside while you worship a God. And then your country. And then you're going to worry about your family. I think you got everything backwards. I don't care if you're religious or not. Your choice. But for me, my wife and kids, my parents, number one. Always. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the situation. Doesn't matter what's going on. I will defend them before I defend this country. Yes, exactly. The newsroom. First thing to take on a problem is to acknowledge that there is one. Yep. I watched The Newsroom. That was a great, great show. I keep getting comments of people asking if I've seen the opening scene, um, where he pretty much just puts everybody in their place about why America is not the greatest country in the world. It's absolutely wonderful. I actually saw that scene on Facebook first. Somebody had posted, and I thought, is this for real? Um, is that really Jeff Daniels just shutting people down? Or is it a movie? I didn't know what it was at first. And then I talked to a buddy. He's like, oh, that's The Newsroom, and you need to watch it. So I did, and it was absolutely wonderful. It was a very big eye-opener, just to the way things operate kind of behind the scenes with media and the news, and how it's skewed one way or the other depending on who you work for, right? It was a great show. He couldn't bring his gun with him. That's why he needed to defend himself. Oh, Jeff Daniels did the second one with Trump as the theme? I'm going to have to check that one out. Yeah, and see, that's the issue. That's the argument between or with all these people with the Second Amendment. I need to defend myself. From what? I mean, isn't it an Australian comedian who goes through gun laws in the U.S.? I believe so. I can't think of his name, but I think. All right. We'll see you later. Thanks for joining. There was a Australian comedian who just ripped apart the Second Amendment. It was hilarious. And it was like this whole defend yourself crap that it's like you really got to think highly of yourself if you think everybody's out to get you. Like you're the one that they want to kill. So you better... Sorry, this is the VA calling. Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. My name is Paul. I'm calling from the Phoenix VA Radiology Scheduling Department. Am I speaking with Nathan?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. How's it going for you today, sir?
Not too bad, thank you.
Yeah, sorry to bother you on Saturday. I'm just calling to see if you'd like to set up an MRI appointment or would you like to call us back to schedule?
No, we can set one up, thank you.
Okay. I'm just gonna give you the first available. If it's too far out, then let me know. We can
Okay.
send you out to the community care. Before I get to that page, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna go through the question really quick. Do you have any pacemaker or implant devices?
I do not.
Okay. Any metal?
No.
Have you ever worked with metal working back or right?
No.
Thank you. Any surgery within the past 8 months?
Nope.
Do you know if you are claustrophobic or not?
No.
Thank you. I can skip that question. So this is showing me April 21st at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And we do have an earlier appointment too, like starting from 4 a.m. maybe half an hour. So you don't have to take it. If that is too far out, we can send you out to community care.
No, that should be okay.
Yeah, what time would you like? Starting from 4 a.m. maybe half an hour to 5:30.
Let's do the 5:30.
Okay, 5:30.
This will be at the main hospital?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, sir. So that entrance is not open till like 6 o'clock, so you gotta come through the emergency entrance.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Sounds good. All right. And I got you. And okay.
All right, sounds good.
Have a great day, sir.
Thank you. You too. Bye. Sorry, I know my sound was on. Thought it would be kind of funny. Yeah, that was the VA scheduling me for my next MRI. In case you didn't know, I shake unless I'm drinking. Then it's not too bad. But yeah, just another MRI appointment to have my brain scanned. So we'll see what they say. Sorry about the. Sorry about that. It's like everything's going on now. You're absolutely right, Martin. The two political parties are just a joke. There's no representation of all people now. You know, I mean, you can't have just two choices. Not with politics. I mean, that's such a wide genre, such a wide thing. To expect people to pick A or B is kind of ridiculous. And the problem is, these third parties keep trying to get on the ballot, or but it's not. It would have to be a major push for a third party to actually make it very far. Unfortunately, Democrat, Republican. That's what you get. That's what you get. Exactly, Westfala. Um, you're very patriotic when it's your team against another team. That's very true. Carl Barron, is that the guy? Sorry, I'm catching up on comments. The comedian's name from Australia doing the. Hey Pat, thank you for joining. Yeah, health is important. Um, I'm going through the whole thing again with the VA and the tremor, the shaking that I have. My old neurologist retired about a year and a half ago, so now and it's been a long time. It's been like 10 years since I had any work done, so I'm just going through all of that again, just trying to figure out if there's anything they can do. There's a procedure that they can do. It's deep brain stem stimulation. I think that's the VA just reminded me of my appointment. But it used to be that they would implant something in the brain and it would go down to a implant here, and that would help calm the tremor down. And now I think it's a non-invasive where they hit it with lasers. So I'm gonna go through, see what they say about everything. I'll keep everybody updated on how that's going. But yeah, the tremor is getting worse. It's embarrassing. It's frustrating, especially when I'm carrying a bowl of cereal or a glass of water, and my hand just starts going nuts. And yeah, it's a thing. So. 27 parties the last election, and 17 made it to the government. That's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Jim Jeffries. Yes. Yes, Jim Jeffries. That's the guy. What's my favorite city in Germany? Awesome. Okay, so Berlin would have to be my favorite city based on history and architecture. Um, because it has a lot of both. And it's one of the cities I've been to a couple times. Um, it made me really feel. What did it make me feel? The last time we were in Germany, not the last time, but actually a number of years ago, my wife had never been to East Germany or East Berlin. They had family on that side, but they never met or got to see each other until the wall came down, obviously. But she had never even been to Berlin. So when we went, we spent a week there with her parents, her sister, brother-in-law, their kids, our family. And she asked me one day when we were going to Brandenburg Gate to East Berlin if her and her sister could walk through by themselves. And this chokes me up a lot, just talking about this, because it's hard to imagine being in a country and not ever being able to go to another part of that same country, right? So when she said, "Can we, do this by ourselves?" I was like, "Yeah, by all means, please take your time. I mean, soak it in. Do whatever you got to do." But yeah, I mean, obviously it's okay. I don't have to walk with you. So I went through and then they walked through, and I could tell just by watching them what it meant to be able to do something that family hadn't been able to do for so many years. And so that's one of the reasons why it's probably one of my favorite cities in Germany, because it's rich in history. Not that other places aren't, but what happened there and in Germany and in a lot of places is it's tragic, but it's history. I enjoy that piece of it. The other hand, Kaiserslautern is probably my other favorite city, just because that's where she is from, or near there, and we're huge FCK fans, so Kaiserslautern would be another favorite. And Munich, I really enjoyed the palaces and obviously Hofbräuhaus in Munich, but yeah, so Berlin. So a neighbor had Parkinson's and lived until 93. That's incredible. Yeah, I think we just need to get to that place where we're happy and life will go on. Life will be great. I'm not saying that I'm not happy here. I am happy here. Not as happy as I could be somewhere else. But I'm not, every day isn't a bad day. Every day isn't a regret or a terrible day just because of where I am or what I'm doing. I have some great days, and I love where I am to an extent, but I know that there's better things out there. I know that I could be happier. So that's why. That's why the big push to move back to Germany isn't because I'm completely depressed or anything here. I just know that I could be happier. Why shouldn't we be happier? You're all right. Happier. Yeah, a lot of people, produce a video where I just talk. I'm planning on it. I really am. I really am self-conscious. And I know everybody's going to say, don't worry about it. Just do it. Nobody will laugh. I don't know how well that video would come across right now. But I do have plans for a video in German. I am starting to speak more with my wife, listen to more German in the car, watch more German shows. So when I get to that point where I feel like I would have something to say and make it meaningful, I will definitely do a video in German. Yeah. But then, yeah, I'd have to have subtitles in English, or so people wouldn't be. Uh, Thank you, Pat. Danke. I do understand a lot of it, so ich liebe deine Videos. I get. It's just once you get going, um, I find myself trying to catch up, because I think right now I spend too much time trying to translate, and I know I shouldn't. It should just be a natural thing. So I'm getting there. It's a lot of work, but at some point I will have a German video out. All right, Tomas. Favorite movie or TV show from Germany? Um, I don't remember. Watch it. Stefan Raup. Is he still a thing? Because my wife and I watched him all the time, and I didn't understand a word, but just the way he would laugh and talk about things, I would be crying. I would be laughing so hard. So if he's still around, because I think he made fun of Will Smith at one point, because people told Will Smith to say "pulalalam," right? And he did, and they just started making fun of him because that's not what he thought it was. So yeah, he's retired. Oh, but that was the best. I loved watching that. That's probably the only thing I can remember watching, actually. Oh, see, so I've been out of Germany so long, I don't even know what's going on over there anymore. Die Hard with German subtitles. Actually, it was funny. I watched Star Wars in German, and I couldn't finish it. I couldn't. I'm sorry. The voiceovers, when Darth Vader started to speak, I just lost it. I couldn't stop laughing. I just that is not James Earl Jones. So this is not Star Wars, and that is not Darth Vader. So that was pretty funny, but couldn't finish it. I could not finish listening to a German Darth Vader higher pitched voice. Didn't fit. Did not fit. So, but that was pretty funny. Das Leben der anderen. That sounds familiar. we watched. I don't remember watching a whole lot of German TV when we were over there. All Quiet on the Western Front. No, I haven't seen that one, Pat. You know, and it's hard sometimes. It depends on the movie. I watched a movie, I think it was in Swedish? Dutch? It was one of the Nordic, I don't remember what movie. It was all in subtitles. But I went through the whole movie and I thought that was like entirely in subtitles. And I watched and knew. So it depends on the movie. If it's not something that's going to grab my attention naturally, I can't do it with subtitles. But if it's something that the story or whatever's going on that is happening would grab my attention, I can usually do it. Because after a while, I'm not even thinking about the subtitles. It's just like subconsciously reading them. But yeah, it depends on the movie. That's too bad Stefan is retired. He was so funny. Although, to be honest, that was 20 years ago. So, time flies, right? Japanese Darth Vader. Yeah, see, I couldn't do it. No, it's either James Earl Jones or it's nobody. I mean, that's it. That's sorry. It's either him or you don't do it. Don't do it. I would love to learn a few other languages just so I could keep, to watch different things. But that would be pretty funny. Chinese Darth Vader. All right, everybody. It's been a wonderful time, but we're pushing 3.5 hours now. And I am in desperate need of a restroom break because I've had a couple drinks. I really appreciate you joining me. I am going to post this, leave it up. So if you had any other comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below and I will get to them. But I'm really going to have to call it a day for today. I know it's getting late in some of these other places where you are, and hopefully we all get to meet one day. That would be amazing. I will keep everybody posted on our trip to Germany. Again, that's this summer in July. I will keep you updated on my trip scuba diving. I will be posting videos of my underwater adventures. So please, I wish everybody the best weekend possible. Hopefully wherever you are, the weather holds out and it's not too nasty. But thanks again for watching, for sticking with me till the end. And as always, until next time, I will catch you later. So, auf Wiedersehen, gute Nacht, ein schönes Wochenende. Yes. All right, the playlist, Martin, on there. I will. Tschüss, Alan. We'll talk to everybody later. Thank you, Linda. It's been really nice to meet you as well and have a chat. It's great. Schönes Wochenende. I know, 3.5 hours, right? All right, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, bye.